Today I wanted to talk about how to make your 2026 your best year yet. And those are just some things that I'm trying to do for myself because they already worked really well last year and I just organized them a little bit more so I understand them better. Just so you have a little reference from where I'm starting at. So last year was pretty good for me already. I think it has been one of my best years so far. And last year I went from never going to the gym to going consistently twice a week, which I held up all year. And on top of it, so my hobby is sewing, which this channel is also about. Last year I've sewn more than I have ever sewn before, even though I switched from working part-time to working full-time. I even sewed the dress that I'm wearing right now, and I will link the video where I made that here somewhere. And I achieved all of this by following this structure that I wanted to talk to you about today. Let's start with reflection and alignment. One thing that you consistently hear in self-help realms is that you need a life purpose or that you have to know your why. But I don't think this is the only way to go through life. So last year I have started to do a lot of things that I never thought that I could do all at once, and I feel a lot more full and purposeful than ever before. But if you asked me what my purpose is, I couldn't really tell you. Actually, my boyfriend asked me the other day, what do I wake up for every day? And I couldn't really pinpoint one exact thing because it's the combination of all the things that I'm doing that makes my life purposeful and that makes my life feel full and fun and exciting. So that is something that I've realized last year, and I feel like you don't really need a big life purpose or a big why. You just need to be clear about what matters to you. So to basically get clear on your values and build skills into that direction. To get clear on your values, think about your life and what is really important to you right now. Once you have figured out all of these values that you have, and maybe also put them into a little ranking list, what is more important to you in general and what is a little bit less important to you, it becomes a lot more easy to make decisions. For example, I value not struggling financially, and I also value being intellectually challenged and not doing repetitive tasks all the time. Those are two values that I took to decide on what to do professionally. So I decided on becoming a software developer. So that would be one example how you can use your values to decide on what to do. I feel like you can go through life with that in mind all of the time without it becoming overwhelming, because it is not really a big process to decide whether or not you want to do something. For example, if your family is very important to you, but so is your education, and you have the opportunity to go abroad for one semester, for example, you can decide, well, while family is important to me, this could open up new opportunities for me, and I'm only away from my family for half a year, so I am willing to make this sacrifice in order to be better off later. And that is basically how I go through life most of the time. And I find that a lot easier to grasp than an abstract concept of my life's purpose. You know, I find that a lot more pragmatic, really. Once you've decided on what to do, you obviously need some skills to actually develop yourself into that direction. And I would suggest you can just try doing anything that is available to you right now. For example, you can just start by reading a book about it, just do trial and error. It is just important that you use your values to decide on a direction and do whatever you can to go into that direction. This way, your life feels a lot more intentional and less like you are just reacting to life happening to you. The next thing is intentional time and energy. The main idea here is to do more by doing less. So basically to free up time to do more of the things that you want to be doing by letting go of the things that are actually just draining you. For example, would be doom scrolling, to saying yes to obligations out of guilt, things like that. And the way to do this is through setting boundaries. For me, for example, one thing that I noticed was starting to waste my time was that I checked my Instagram regularly. And I noticed that I don't get any benefit of that. It just makes me less focused and I don't gain anything from it. So I set the boundary for myself to block my Instagram app. So I am wasting less time and I basically forget the habit of checking my Instagram constantly. You can also start setting boundaries with people that drain you, for example, and that doesn't mean that you are not allowed to ever see them again. It is more about deciding from a place of intentionality. You know, to know, okay, if I meet up with that person, I might feel drained after, but it's okay. You know, it is more kind of that vibe that I'm trying to go for. The last thing here is to stop procrastination, because procrastination is another way that we leak time and energy, and we don't do that because we're lazy. I just want to make that clear. We do that to cope with an emotion of feeling overwhelmed, of feeling bad in general, of a task feeling unclear or emotionally loaded. What helped me the most with quitting procrastination was to notice my emotional state and regulate it with things like breathing exercises instead of shutting down my emotions by doom scrolling, for example. But I am making another video just about procrastination and how I stopped procrastinating. When you're early, that will not be out yet, so maybe consider subscribing to this channel if you want to get notified for that. But once it's done, I will link that video here somewhere. Another thing that is really big is regulation. And I want to talk about two things here. The first thing is regular movement, because that basically sets the baseline for your emotional state. It makes you feel more regulated, more calm in general. And for me, working out regularly started with discipline, yes, but it became more of a mental health thing over the course of last year. I've noticed when I work out twice a week, I feel so much more calm. I am less likely to get anxious and I am just emotionally more grounded. So you don't have to go to the gym, just do some exercise or movement in general that makes you feel good, that you are comfortable with, and that at least helped me very much. The other thing about regulation is doing things that you are excited about. If you take away any of the tips from these videos, I would consider you should take away this. I used to be so overwhelmed with my life. I always felt like I was doing so much and I couldn't do more. I had such low energy and it was just, everything felt so draining. And last year I decided I'm just gonna do all of the things that I feel excited about, because like, what is this life? Being so drained all of the time, having no energy, whatnot. And I decided to just do the things that I wanted to do, even though I was exhausted. And what I noticed is that I got more energy. I was so much more excited. I felt so much more purposeful. And I actually learned that there is research to back that up. So apparently there are two ways to handle overwhelm. So you can either do less of the things that you don't want to do, which we talked about before, or you can do more of the things you do want to do. And this is this point. So by doing more, I actually felt less overwhelmed. So maybe if you find yourself in a similar situation, try doing more things you're excited about. To give you some examples, it doesn't have to be anything productive, okay? So like I said before, I started sewing a lot more because it's something that I really love doing. I don't need clothes anymore. I can just go and buy some, but it's so much more fun for me to sew them. Another thing that I started doing was to learn Korean. I don't need to learn Korean for anything in my life, but it's fun to me. So I started doing that and I feel very excited about making progress and understanding a few words here and there when I listen to music, for example. Those have been some things that really improved my life over the course of last year. Okay, let's quickly talk about growth, because while I do not believe in hustle culture and always being productive, I do believe that everyone can benefit from growth, because growth improves your external life. You get more opportunities, you don't feel as stuck, and most importantly, you are making life easier for future you. To give you an example, I am currently working on a programming project where I have never been taught the programming language I'm using, and I can get away with just winging it, but it makes everything a lot harder for me in my work life. So I decided this year I want to take a course about this programming language so I just have it easier every single day. And it can be for anything in your life, professionally, academically, wherever you feel like you could benefit from improving this skill. I would highly encourage you to just go for it because you don't lose anything, right? Now, the last point is about connection. I just want to preface this by saying most people would probably label me as introverted, but humans are wired for connection, and we do struggle a lot when we are isolated and everything feels so much harder. For me, a lot changed by just saying yes more often to things that make me feel a little bit nervous. For example, social gatherings by my employer or get-togethers that I felt kind of out of place. Things like that have really improved my social confidence over the last year, because a lot of confidence just comes from exposure, I feel like. That doesn't mean you have to have a crazy social life. It just means to get out more, and this is more for my fellow introverted people. If you're extroverted, congrats, you don't have to do this probably. And one hack that I found for myself at least is hosting, because that gives you this social connection. You still feel very grounded because you're at home and feel safe there, and it comes with a positive side effect that your home gets more tidy and welcoming over time. That is a hack from me, and the good thing about that too is when you are hosting, if you need a moment, you can just go into the kitchen and prepare something or wash some dishes and come back replenished without it being weird or anything. So if you are very introverted, I would highly recommend that. You don't have to host for a ton of people, it can just be like a few, no problem. I think that really improved my life last year. And the last thing is to spend time with your loved ones. And I know that can feel very obvious, but it is so easy to postpone because it's not really urgent. But in the end, we really don't know how much time we have with our loved ones. So this is just a gentle reminder to spend some time with your loved ones because it's important. I hope this helped. Let me know in the comments.